1, 2. Is this thing on? Ha ha ha. Vince here, and I'm here to introduce you to today's episode, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. But I don't give a damn that Stone Cold Steve Austin is here, and I don't give a damn that fans are out there crying about some of these segments or some of the music. I'm gonna put in my own music, because no one knows shit. Only I know good shit, you jackasses. Taking a word out of the page of the books of my nemesis, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, without further ado, the following...
What the hell do you think you're doing, son? Huh? What?
Nothing. Steve,
What are you doing?
Nothing, I'm not doing...
Coming up here with more of your shitty-ass segments? What?
What? What are you talking about?
You know whose music we're using today, kid.
What?
You have to beat your ass again like at the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, you son of a bitch?
Okay.
You know we're not using this music today, kid. What?
Yeah.
You know exactly what song we're going to use.
Yeah.
So use it.
Okay, we're using Leah's song. Let's do it. Leah's song. Here we go.
Actually, as a matter of fact, stutter. So now, without further ado, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. And today's topic, in your house, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And introducing the intro song, Project Awesome from Leah.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Good evening, David.
And Craig.
David.
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P. 2019. And you can click on the link tree. You can find us on all sorts of platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Soundcloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. Guys, why are we talking about the St. Valentine's Day Massacre today?
We had another fan request, so we're a big deal, basically.
I'm a big deal, but it's an odd one, so bear with me. It's H_C_Prez_Beach City Bullies with a Z at the end. Damn, Craig, everything all right over there? And he actually requested this offhand. He said, hey, guys, I have a request. I would love to talk about the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, one of his favorites. We got you covered, buddy. We're going to talk about it today. So a lot of people, when we started talking about this, it was like, yeah, we've always wanted to cover a in your house. That's kind of where it comes from, right? It's interesting. When you look it up on the network, at least for me, when I looked up in your house, it doesn't show this one. You have to go specifically to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Just so if you guys are looking,
the last branded in your house was December of '97, when they did D Generation X in your house, and then they took the in your house title out. So all the odd pay-per-views were kind of in your houses, but they didn't put it like this was just called the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but it was still under the in your house category, which is weird to me.
Because it was between majors? They just called everything between the major ones and in your house?
I don't even think that, because I think I don't remember when No Way Out became a pay-per-view, but I don't believe No Way Out was in your house. Maybe it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's weird. When you look it up, it's St. Valentine's Day Massacre, in your house. And then when, like what Dave was saying, when you go to the network even to look it up, if you type up in your house, it brings everything up under that umbrella, which ends in December of '97 with DX in your house.
Yes.
So,
I had a hard time finding it today.
But yeah, technically, St. Valentine's Day Massacre is a distant cousin of In Your House, if you want to break it down to...
well, there you go.
Well, I'm a purist, and if it doesn't have a really dumb, stupid front yard that you're walking through on the way to the ring with a wacky In Your House, then that's not
it's not in your house, yeah. It's very true.
There you go. No, good stuff. So what are the highlights of, should we talk about In Your House, kind of how it came to fruition? Because if I'm not mistaken, this was not like your regular Sunday pay.
No, this the original In Your House, actually, this was way after it kind of just became. The original concept was made in 95, and it was actually 2-hour-long pay-per-view. So it was before both promotions, WCW and WWF, decided we're going to do a pay-per-view every month. WCW, of all promotions, was the first one to take the step forward, and they were like, they're pushing towards a pay-per-view every month. Whereas WWF, I think, was a little hesitant because 95 wasn't the best fiscal year for wrestling. So I think what they did, they started out, I want to say May was the first In Your House. And it was a 2-hour-long pay-per-view, not 3, and it was a reduced price. It was like $24.99 or $19.99, something like that, instead of the regular like $30 price point that most pay-per-views were back then. Then after a while, WWF, and I don't remember when they went from 2 to 3 hours and just started charging you normal pay-per-view price. That was before, I'm pretty sure that was before they took the In Your House tag off. They went up to 3 hours. It had to have been sometime in 97 to happen. I just don't remember which one it was. So that's how it basically, the In Your House thing got started. And like Craig said, the early ones, all in 95 and in 96, they literally had the front yard of a house and the wrestlers would walk out the door for the entrance. And it was very corny, very corny.
Yeah, and this one I guess so I guess they counted it as the last one.
I think so.
Kind of
I think so.
Branded or unbranded. Yeah.
You would think, a fan that requested this, we do our research. We don't. We just it's hard. It gets murky here. When wrestling started speeding up, especially in the Monday Night Wars, like I feel like I close my eyes and like 3 pay-per-views passed me by. It's like, huh? And so like St. Valentine's Day Massacre, we're going to get into it, is really notable for one particular match. And we all know which one that was, but there was a couple other notables on it too. But this one was really led by Vince and Stone Cold, and their whole ongoing feud that started late 97 was still plowing through the wrestling industry even to this day. Pretty much not culminating here, but like the two finally got in the ring in a match against each other, which hadn't happened before. I mean, they were both in the same Royal Rumble, but McMahon did all the little shenanigans to get away from Austin. I believe it was a month before that happened, in Royal Rumble 99. Vince actually won the Royal Rumble, and he lasted like over an hour or some bullshit. But he was in the back and he was taken out of the ring and he rested in the back, and it was a whole bunch of stuff they did. But he actually eliminated Stone Cold to win the damn thing. So Austin wanted to murder him at this point.
Yeah. And this known for kind of the in the confines of a big kind of awesome looking black steel cage, which looks like the old blue the old blue cage that they used to have, but painted black. It's kind of ominous and very cool. But then also it was the event that saw the debut of Paul Wizite, the Big Show, who's Andre the Giant's son. And then Ivory, who was in Glow, and others. So there was a lot in Attitude Era.
This was a debut of Ivory, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my shit! That's a nugget. That's a heck of a fact right there.
Thank you.
And the date of this event was February the 14th, Valentine's Day. Get it? In 1999.
God, 21 years ago,
19,000 people packed this fucking arena.
Yeah.
This was the heart of the Attitude Era, man. This was, WCW was starting to falter here at the beginning of 99, but they were still pretty strong right here at the beginning of 99. But WWF had been beating them for 8 months in the ratings, I think, at this point, like pretty solidly. And so it was getting to be one-sided, but it hadn't quite happened here. But like Craig said, when the gentleman we know as the Big Show debuts, that was kind of the big coup. They pulled him over from WCW, and it just started to get worse for WCW after this point.
Do I need to clarify that I realize that he's not actually Andre the Giant's son, or was that? Would everyone out there know that I'm joking?
Listen, I want to compliment our audience as much as the next person does, but I'm glad you said that because you might have to for some people. I don't put it past some. I'm sorry, some wrestling fans.
You're such a fucking heel.
Ridiculous.
They get it. They're smarks. They get it.
I don't know if you. No, you can't prove that to me, Dave. You have no proof.
You're such a heel, bro.
Wham!
But going back to your relatively, the realms of confusion. There was a lot of confusion that I saw watching some of this back. There was a lot of that. I didn't know who the heel was. I didn't know who the face was, but at the same time, it didn't really matter. The crowd just rooted for who they liked. They would try to make heels, and I think the crowd.
And
was
this was
this
was really in the heart of Vince Russo land. He didn't end up leaving to go to WCW until September of this year, '99. But so he was still, head booker, head writer here. And there are just so many wrestling shows WWF wise around this time phrase where it's just, God, he's got his Russo prints all over it. And we'll get into it as we go on the card. And it's just like, oh my God, it's just like, booking on top of booking on top of angle and like 19 million things happen in one match. Like it's
Goldust has a face was enough for me to go, what the fuck?
It's just I'm not a big fan of Vince Russo. I don't think a lot of people really are. But back here, he was
You'd be surprised.
He was credited back here with, he did play an important part. He did. But he had to be watched. And I know that phrase is it's used over and over again. If you don't have the filter, how great really are you? And we all found out how great he was not when he went to WCW and he had no filter there. Vince, we shit on him now because he's the last word now and he's making a lot of bad choices because I think he's old and out of touch. But back here, Vince knew how to surround himself with people and then filter their ideas and make sure they don't go too crazy with it. But this was a really batshit crazy booked pay-per-view by Vince Russo here. I mean, it's like I said, the evidence is everywhere.
So we had 8 matches on this card.
Which was a break from our last review that we did. We reviewed WrestleMania 7 a little bit ago, and there was 14 matches on there. But here, there's only, did you say 8? You did say 8, didn't you? Yeah. There's only 8 on the card this time. They had Sunday Night Heat before these pay-per-views, by the way, and they would have like 3 matches on Sunday Night Heat because it was like they used Sunday Night Heat as their pre-show before pay-per-views. So,
that's where you told the story.
Huh? Did they have Saturday Raws? During watching this, they always flash back to like the day before. They had a special Raw on Saturday. Did you remember that at all?
Yeah, they did talk about it, but I did not remember it. There were like Saturday
either
Raws,
they had it.
It
depends on if something else, like a fucking dog show or something, would push them from their normal slot in USA, and it could have been one of these times where they had the dog show, and then so they had to.
Or Silk Stocking special episode. Yeah.
Silk Stockings. Fuck, I totally remember. Oh my God.
What's the white collar on USA?
What's the cyclers, the Miami Beach Patrol? Oh man, with the bicycle cops.
Where?
Come on. It's these. It was a show at USA.
And Gumball? Just kidding. I couldn't help it. Gumball and Gumball, Family Guy.
I'll find out. By the end of this podcast, I'm just going to chime in with the name of the show. And a lot of people are screaming into their cars right now. So I'll find it. It was on after.
All 7 of them, bro. They'll all scream into it.
David.
All 7 viewers and listeners, yeah.
David?
What?
So there was only 8 matches on this card, which is kind of typical. I think in like 94, they started slimming their pay-per-views down to where it was only like 7 matches in some cases. So they kind of kept that going, which thank God, because sometimes, 14 matches is a bit much. So I'll start it out here. We'll just go match by match. The first match to open up this pay-per-view was Goldust against Blue Dust. For those of you who don't know, Blue Dust was the Blue Meanie from ECW and the BWO. And if you don't know who that is, I'm not going to explain it because it takes too long. He was a partner of Goldust for a while, and he called himself Blue Dust because the whole thing about the Blue Meanie was he put blue in front of everything because he wore blue and he wore blue eyeshadow and he had a blue mohawk. So, and he was like dumpy and he showed his fat belly. He wore like belly shirts and jean shorts, and that's the Blue Meanie.
Pacific Blue. The show's called Pacific Blue.
Pacific Blue. And by the way, he was billed at over 300 pounds. Do you believe it? He was not.
He was fat pounds. No? That's all I know.
Who Blue Dust?
That's the official weight.
Big old.
So Goldust, their match was it was like an Iron Man match. It was 3 minutes and 4 seconds, and Goldust pinned him. And Goldust
a reverse Broadway.
And yes. And what a way to open up a pay-per-view. Not with the match that gets them off their ass, baby. A 3-minute match with Goldust and Blue Dust. Sweet Lord. Already this pay-per-view, when I watched it, I was like, this shit's not starting out very good for me, like at all.
But here's the thing about it, right? Before we get into our thumbs up, down, middle, Goldust literally gets the fans up and going with Shattered Dreams at the when the match is over. He's like, I don't hear enough cheers. If you want Shattered Dreams, he kept raising his arms up. If you want this, you have to give it to me. And I saw this throughout the pay-per-view. They were so, I don't want to say desperate, but they were so passionate about getting the crowd up that you don't see anymore. They just expect it, if that makes sense. But Goldust was like, no, give it to me. If you want this, you have to give it to me. And finally, the crowd gets up enough, and he does deliver Shattered Dreams when the match is over. And that's finally the payoff for Blue Dust or Blue Meanie to get kicked in the nuts, while he's impaled to the corner. I find that fascinating because I don't remember seeing that in any other, genre of wrestling. I think they were just really trying to get people amped up. There was so much about the amp up, like DX, let's get ready to suck it. All that kind of stuff was all to get the crowd fired up. Hello, ladies. This is all fire up, all getting them. It's all about the show here. And it's like getting the crowd pumped. And to me, that was that epitome of Attitude Era at that time. No? Yes, maybe?
Yeah, I think, once, especially when the NWO took over, face and heels became blurred. And I think that was the problem here is like we forget that the people on top were the ones that kept us watching here. And they were so over. It just is a testament to how over The Rock was here, and Mankind and Austin and those guys and DX. Like you dealt with this shit. Like, we're talking about an undercard on WrestleMania 7 that had Dino Bravo and Kerry Von Erich on it. Okay, at least one of those names are really big. And people do remember Dino Bravo. I'm not trying to shit on him. But then you open up a pay-per-view with Goldust and Blue Meanie in a 3-minute match. Like, I just instantly, when I started watching this, and maybe it's because it's our second fan review, the person who requested this is like, what the fuck, guys, right now? You're shitting on the pay-per-view. It's only the first match. But
nah, I'm sure he likes the end.
It's just like I was watching this going, God, like, the Attitude Era did mess up a lot of stuff. And on both sides, from NWO side of it on WCW to this side, because you lost what face and heel were. And the reason why Goldust was so desperate in a 3-minute match to get heat was because it's what they do in house shows, which is what you don't do on a pay-per-view. You sit and ponder to the crowd. Not good. Like, when I saw it, I was like, this is generic. Like, this is terrible. And like, he did Shatter's Dreams. That was one of his signature moves, and he had to beg people to cheer for a signature moves. Did Jake ever beg people? Like, he would do the fucking twirl finger and knew the DDT was coming. Jake didn't walk around the ring for 20 minutes going, come on, do you want it? No, I gotta hear you louder. Like, no, bullshit. Like, people were chanting DDT before he even touched the guy, before the bell rang. So that was the glaring thing here, was just like, God, like, for as fondly as a lot of people remember the Attitude Era, the undercard was such shit sometimes. And it had Vince Russo booking everywhere. It was all just over the top characters, just ridiculous.
No fault to the guys.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because it sounds stupid. I know we're playing this way too long. The Blue Meanie puts on a moonsault that I would love to be able to put on. It was fantastic, which he missed, and that's how he loses. But come on, man! Like, they were putting in work. But to your point, if the storylines don't matter, they don't matter.
And
that's probably an even better. You summed it up perfect, actually. If the storylines don't matter, they don't matter. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, and I will say I chuckled mightily at kind of the build up when where Blue Dust is on a couch in all blue paint, and he does the blue dust, hilarious. And then he starts coughing. So I will say he did get a laugh out of me before this match started. That was the last laugh. Yeah,
Blue Dust.
Yeah, and then it's also very cool. It's cool to see 21 years later, Dustin Rhodes putting on great matches still. So kudos to Goldust. I was proud of him. Watching this back, I
can't even explain how talented Dustin Rhodes is to this day, and we're spoiled, to see someone like that. And the whole garb of Goldust coming out in this match is phenomenal, and Blue Dust's promo coming in is fucking great. And unfortunately, that's where it ends. So I guess I'll do it because Jess is swigging some water right now. Are we doing a thumbs up, down, middle? What are we doing?
That is our criteria, and I will thumbs down. It was the opening match, and typically that's the one that really, give me at least 6 or 7 minutes of, they usually do stuff. It's basic wrestling, not basic pondering that they should be doing. It's basic wrestling to get the crowd to go through emotions. And typically a good opening match is a face and a heel, a clear one. And yes, they were trying to tell us a story here.
We didn't have
but
that.
They didn't really, I don't know. It was just more of like a play on like, I get it. He's Blue Dust and the other guy's Gold Dust.
It bugged me too, because Goldust was the face when it came down to it, the way it was coming down, but it almost felt like Blue Dust should have been the face, because he's never been a bad guy in a sense. It didn't make sense there. I will give a thumbs up to the build, the video work they did, because Blue Dust was hilarious and Goldust is pissed off, but the match is a total thumbs down for me. Total thumbs down.
There's a story of Pat Patterson before WrestleMania when he told Tito Santana in the opening match, Tito, you need to get him off their ass, Tito. And it was Tito went out there and as the opening match got him off their ass. This was the opposite of that thumbs down.
Yeah. Yes.
This was the opposite. I love it. It is a thumbs down.
Any bad opener is called an anti-Tito. Any bad opener.
This is a major anti-Tito.
Yeah. Right, WrestleMania 1, right? Yeah, that Pat Patterson.
And by the way, on WrestleMania 1, not to go long on this match, but Tito Santana wrestled the Executioner. Does anybody remember him? No, because Tito was so good and he took that advice. I got to get him off their ass, and he went out there, and you can go back and I know it was a match from '85 or whatever, but they went out there, they did their job. It was Tito Santana. He had name value like Goldust did here. And Tito did his job. Now, I don't know who told them to go 3 minutes. That's probably not the best time to have, but so I give him credit on that, but why would you open the pay-per-view with 3 minutes?
Do you think Pat Patterson took aside Blue Meanie and goes, Blue Dust, you got to get him off their ass, Blue Dust. You got to,
no,
you got 3 minutes to really get him off their ass, Blue Dust.
Blue Dust, come here for a minute, like in private.
I'm pretty sure he said Blue Dust. When the match starts, it's over. Get it done.
Sure, it's like Blue Dust. God, we need to talk about your tights. It's not very flattering. Anyway, just go out there.
I thought his balls were gonna pop out any minute. I'm just saying.
Sure, they did.
It was bad.
So the next,
it was like ripped sweats.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Sorry, we need to move on. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
The next match is Bob Holly defeated Al Snow to either win or defend the Hardcore Championship. Because I watched this match. Because I watched this match with no sound on when I had time at work, and so nobody wore the belt when they came out, so I don't know. And
which is fucking
yeah, and I don't. And they wrestled. They went outside. I can't say they wrestled. That's a bad word. They fought outside, and they did all kind. It was a typical WWF hardcore match for this era. And Bob Holly apparently, according to Dave, won the title, which fine. And it was 9 minutes and 58 seconds, which you could have shaved 2 minutes.
And he was removed with the name Sparky Plug.
What? Oh, so he became hardcore here.
No. He was already hardcore, but I remember him as Sparky Plug, and he was trying to get out from under it when he won the title. Oh, he got out from under the Sparky Plug. That was the announcers.
Okay.
Yeah, I did watch it with the sound on. I'm kind of disappointed, but okay. And they got thrown into the river.
The Mississippi River, a dirty, like a tire-filled, disgusting, frigid river. And then
35-degree fucking river.
Favorite part of this match is Bob Holly pins him outside and then has to do a huge, 3-minute run all the way back into the arena, and he's completely blown up.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
So it was.
We gotta jog it back, bro. Jog it back. We got shit to do.
Yeah.
So
he wins.
And what's even funnier about it is, I'm sorry, Jess, I might be stealing your thunder, is that poor Holly knows the finisher is he has to wrap Al Snow. What does everybody want? Into the chain link fence, right?
He's trapped by the chain link fence. He cannot get out. He's
trapped by it. But for fucking 5 minutes, Bob Holly's fucking with the chain link. He can't get it unraveled. And he's like, fuck. And he goes back. He goes back and tries to get to the Al Snow, and somehow Al Snow works it out, and he does pin him in it. And they camera pan out to Holly going back, and then when they go back to Snow, he's totally enchained in the chain link fence. I was like, that didn't happen though.
Yeah.
I mean, what I will say is that the match was brutal. because it's snow and Holly. There's no way it's not going to be. The stuff they used on each other was fucking nasty, but I don't know why you have to go into the
That's
river
what I'm
and
saying.
get
For
wet.
the
It doesn't
stupid
make
bells
sense.
and whistle, I don't give them credit for it being brutal, because like for the stupid bells and I'm sorry to say that about both guys, because nobody should put their body through that, but like,
and they're
with
legit.
all the dumb
these guys
bells
are
and whistles
hardcore.
with the river and like Dave said, the painfully editing of the fence, or when the camera went away and came back, someone rolled him in it or he rolled himself in it. Like, it's just Vince Russo, bro, like, oh, maybe throw people for a swerve. How's he gonna kick out of the pin wrapped in chain, bro? He can't. Like, fucking god damn it. Like, meanwhile, these guys are legitly trying to make it a quote unquote hardcore match by beating the shit out of each other. Like, when that should have been the focus point about a hardcore match.
They did everything, and just to your point, they did everything they could. They went all out.
Sure.
They destroyed each other. Fire extinguishers, glass. They were nasty. It was brutal.
That should have been the point of a hardcore match, not fucking. We're gonna put you in a shit-filled river.
We're gonna put you.
You gotta get the chain fence right, bro. You gotta wrap yourself right, and if not, we're gonna do it off camera. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the whole thing should be these two guys beating the shit out of each other. That's the hardcore championship. Instead, you got Vince Russo sticking his dick in everything. Like, just
you're trapped in a chain link. You can't get out.
You can't get out. You gotta swerve them, bro. They won't know what's coming, bro.
You are
like, fuck.
Your guys' Jersey accents are way better.
And they're too different, and they probably don't even sound anything like Russo if I listen to them, but. Flair, there we go. I got it back.
Bro,
Flair. That's how you say Flair all the time. So I give it a thumbs in the middle because of what you said, Dave, because both guys did beat the shit out of each other and they really wanted it to look good. So with what they could control, they fucking did what they were supposed to do. But honestly, the booking was shit in this match. It was just like, yeah, let's get him outside, bro. Like, oh fuck, like, God, okay.
Get him in the river.
And then end it and make Bob Holly run 9.2 miles back to the venue. Like, fucking Jesus Christ.
It really was a long run. Like, Holly.
I never thought about that. I'll be honest. It's Vince Russo.
You jog it out like a NASCAR track, right? You're a race car driver. Like, run like you're on the track, right? Bro.
You're trying to get out from the name of Spark Plug. Run out of it. Run. You left it at the river, bro. That's where you left it.
Wrap him up in the fence. And here's the cover now. 2, 3. And this one's over. Bob Holly has won the Hardcore Championship. The winner of this bout. I can't believe it.
Oh God, we're 28.
I know we're 2 matches in.
So all right. So anyway,
just don't give.
I say thumbs in the middle, Dave. What do you say?
I'll take middle for sure for the same.
Thumbs
reason.
down for Shawn Michaels. You got it, buddy. Hey, Craig, what do you give this match?
All right.
Thumbs in the middle because I truly like Al Snow and I can't give Al Snow a thumbs down.
Good.
What does everybody want? Yeah. Absolutely.
Al Snow to get a thumbs in the middle.
Solid reasoning, Craig. Solid reasoning.
What does everybody want? Al Snow and Bob Holly
It's
get
as
a
good
drug
as anything
test.
else to
Moving
help
on.
explain Russo booking. The next match is Big Boss Man defeated Midian in a singles match in 6 minutes,
Thumbs
6
down.
minutes and 19 seconds. And the theme, it was a shit fuck sandwich match, and they did great because that theme certainly fit the match. Boss Man catches him with the Boss Man Slam, gets the pin on him, and no one gives two shits.
2/3 of the match, Jess, the crowd is fucking.
They start a boring
chanting.
chant.
Yeah.
5 minutes in,
And then this was the whole.
Midian,
This was
fucking
the corporate ministry yet, or I think it was right. They had the corporate ministry going because at the end they had didn't Visser come out and splash him like 900 times with his 900-pound frame?
Yes, Visser's
Yes.
and he brought like an eyeball in formaldehyde and then set it on the announcer table for the whole match because it was an eyeball.
Naturally.
Well, that's
It's natural,
That's
Craig. I don't
great.
know. Yeah.
So thumbs up for me on the eyeball.
He's going to have an eyeball out there.
And
it's gonna be a big thumbs down for me.
Think about it. After the chain match in the river, you get an eyeball. Oh, man, Vince. It's going to be the best pay-per-view ever. Whatever. When's Austin coming on? Yeah.
because the eyeball's always watching you, right? It's always watching.
Yeah.
All right.
Midian. So thumbs
But
down for
seriously,
everybody.
Boss Man wins the match but loses the war, according to
He
Michael
sure
Cole.
does. He sure does.
Who's a good 100 pounds?
The next, so it's a thumb down from everybody. The next match is Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart, the tag team champions of the world, with Deborah, defeated D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry with Ivory in their corner. And as Craig told me, Ivory was debuting here. 9 minutes.
Yeah.
9 minutes and 33 seconds. What's your question?
Why is Owen so angry?
I don't know why he brought an eyeball down to the ring,
so
Dave. Nobody
angry.
does. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the eyeball and viscera. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. The eyeball.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was just wondering why Owen was so angry.
Yeah, he spits in Mark Henry's face about just a minute in, and then gets a receipt for the next 2 minutes from Mark Henry. he gets the shit kicked out of him. It's quite funny. And I was like, wow, good job, Owen.
Thanks to a combination of Deborah, the guitar, and the figure 4. But I'll tell you what, King, I do not think, by any stretch of the imagination, that this thing is over between Ivory and Deborah.
Oh, no. Look at the look on Ivory's face. She wants some more of Deborah.
How injured is Mark Henry?
Ivory's man is hurt.
How is that knee after receiving the guitar to the knee? And Deborah, with half her clothes ripped off, heads back to the locker room area. But right now...
And that was right before Mark Henry delivered roses to Ivory and, expressed his liking for her.
I felt like...
on this Valentine's Day.
I felt like this, each... I don't know how to word this. That each team should have been booked in a different match with different opponents, because you had all that shit going on with Mark Henry giving roses to Ivory and all that stuff. And then you had Jeff Jarrett and Owen with their dynamic with Deborah. And I just kind of felt like, did they mess up and actually book these two teams with two different other teams, but then those two teams couldn't show up and they're like, you guys got to go in the ring. I was watching this just going okay, Owen and Jeff Jarrett are actually keeping this match afloat for me. They're working, and D'Lo's good.
Yeah.
And D'Lo's good.
I was going to say
D'Lo.
D'Lo is the ultimate definition of underrated. That guy was... This match, I mean, he carried the crowd through it with the high spots. But to your point, Owen and Jared are definitely controlling,
because they were like the heels pretty much, and it was just sort of
exactly.
Yeah, it was just really weird. Again, I'm trying to explain Vince Russo booking, and this had his fingerprints all over it, where it's just these. I just can't find the words right now. The teams were doing their things. Playing little individual stories out where Henry trying to appeal to Ivory. And it was just so God,
but
can't
no
you just
story
fucking
really
wrestle
finished.
a tag match for God's sakes and make people want to win the tag titles? That's the goal here. And it's just odd. I don't know. I love the 3 of the 4 names back here. I love Mark Henry as a whole, but back here, Henry was so green and so hard to watch.
But do you?
I do. Later on, Henry absolutely started doing good stuff, but I'm talking years later. I'm talking
he was babyface at this point, but so many others really were. I have to tell you, I've never. You all can hate me. I've never liked a goddamn thing.
That's fair to say.
I've never appreciated.
I think it's fair to say. I think that the length that he was with the company, which been with the company for 65 years, he had some bright, we remember Sexual Chocolate. We remember his flirting with China.
It was really good.
And then that would happen, and then 20 years would go by, and then he would do something else good, and then 20 more years would go by, and then he would do something else good. So I get it, right? He should have had more bright spots in his long career. But at the same time, I do remember him crying on cue when he turned against John Cena way later in his career, which was fantastic. And I'm getting off subject here, but the Sexual Chocolate stuff, and so you can forget the Mae Young stuff because I hated that shit, but that wasn't him. That was Flair. That was that guy. So yeah, I agree with you. I see where you're coming from on that. I don't disagree with people who don't see anything in Mark Henry, because it took forever to get good moments out of him. Way too much time passed in between. I totally agree with that statement. But I do like Mark Henry. But that's why I said back here, especially, 3 of the 4 names kept me entertained, because I love Jarrett, I love Owen, and I love D'Lo. So at least they saved the match. They tried to have some kind of wrestling match, if you can call it that, here with this bullshit going on.
Hit it, Craig.
Yeah, and Can I just say that watching this today reminded me, and what made me think of it was Sexual Chocolate's theme music. I love the Attitude Era entrances and how all of these were on my gym playlist for so long. Just almost every single these themes are still awesome.
Yes,
I love them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. They get you pumped up from the get. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I'll say it again. I just want to make sure everybody understands. D'Lo Brown is extraordinarily underrated. Watch this match and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. I will give the match definitely a thumbs middle.
I agree. Same thing. Thumbs middle for me too.
I mean, it comes off those 3 matches. I give it a thumbs up just for if you sat through the 3 before it.
If you
earned it,
yeah,
you earned it.
Yeah. You've earned it, guys.
You've earned it. Yeah. Next.
So the next match was Val Venus with Ryan Shamrock in his corner, defeated Ken Shamrock to win the Intercontinental Championship. Now I need to calm down.
Hello,
I
ladies.
hate this time period because this is the beginning of the let's shit on the Intercontinental title for about 10 years. And I just can't fucking stand it. I love the Intercontinental Championship. I love, you watch this match and then I dare you to think of Savage and Steamboat for Mania 3 at the same time. You'll pass out because it doesn't make sense. I don't know what they did with it here. It just was awful. And Ken Shamrock was blown up like a minute into this fucking thing. And I don't know why, because Shamrock usually has like good cardio.
Well, he was angry.
I guess, yeah. Like he shit himself and then just couldn't catch his wind after that. And like it just, everything he did afterwards, I was like, he's so blown up. He's so blown up, like this whole match. And then the Ryan Shamrock thing was he was quote unquote, she was Ken Shamrock's sister, but she loved Val Venus and Ken couldn't stand for that. And because Val was a, promiscuous porn star and just Vince Russo, like everywhere. And like, don't make it about the IC title. Yeah, don't do it.
Don't make it about like the guys.
And then Billy Gunn was a special referee here who I guess had a beef with Shamrock, I think, and then he did a fast count, and that's how Shamrock lost the fucking belt. And like it just
more like a slow count.
I just it was 15 minutes and 53 seconds. But Goldust and Blue Meanie, maybe they deserved to go 3 minutes, but they couldn't go 5. You couldn't take 2 minutes off these goddamn assholes. Like, so I hated this match. I was angry the whole time when I saw Shamrock come down, and then I had forgotten that he lost the IC title here. And when I saw it happen, I was like, you just shit on the ice. My favorite title. Fuck you. And so after that, I just thumbs down. I hated this match. Shamrock was blown up. And I normally do like Shamrock. A lot of people, people don't really talk about him a lot, and he was decent. He was really decent in the ring actually during this era. But 15 minutes, no thank you.
And now he shoves the ref. Fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. What? Look at this. Shamrock into the ring. Val Venus rolls him over. It's over. We have a new Intercontinental Champion.
I thought, 15 minutes is too long, but I thought at least Shamrock would lay it in and he would take it too. Like when he goes into the corner chest first, he takes it full bore. I don't think the effort is lacking in this match, but I just feel like this whole match, this whole pay-per-view is going to shit on Russo. But
he deserves it.
I'm not saying. He
deserves it because all the big matches, I guarantee you, he didn't fucking touch. Vince is not going to let him touch Austin.
Yeah, Patterson touched all those. So, but at the end of the day, there was no lack of effort from those guys. So, I will give it a thumbs middle because they did everything they could with what they had to work with, and I will give it to them. They can't control the finish. They can't control who goes over. That is what is. But if you look at Shamrock, he's noticeably pissed off. He's trying to play the story. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. His sister is there. She's not supposed to be there because Val Venus is a male whore, which all sounds good if you're watching General Hospital, which is kind of what this is from time to time, but it's not the same as some other matches that, it's not Macho Elizabeth. That's
wait, you said, and you gave it a thumbs in the middle?
I'll give it thumbs middle. Yeah, I mean, I thought they tried to lay it in. They tried to make it very extreme, very physical. And they tried to play the storyline the best they could. So I'll give it the middle for the effort. But if they didn't, it would be an extreme thumbs down because it's just
you disappoint me.
So brutal.
You disappoint me, Craig.
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'll give it a thumbs in the middle.
Oh,
it was just
fuck's sake.
Billy Gunn goes to the Shawn Michaels School of Special Guest Refereeing with the tight shorts, and
The
I don't know
referee
why, and just shaking his ass. Like I don't know why he was there. It's clunky with Ryan Shamrock too. At the very end, Ken Shamrock says as loud as possible to the camera so everyone can hear over the audio, "Slap me." To Fake Sister, and then he also drops an F-bomb in the middle of the match, and then the fast count. It's just
is it not even his real sister?
No, it's not.
no. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, you guys are great. I had
but
you're just like
I don't
no,
know.
Dave.
It was they tried. But it was bad.
So give it
middle.
both of you.
Not
Give
bad enough
it
to
a
give me a
thumbs in the
thumbs
middle,
down,
both of you. Totally. Anyways, let's go on to the next fucking match. Ridiculous.
So
But you
like
give
a
it a thumbs in the
thumbs
middle and
down.
you shit on it. Like it's a thumbs down. Everybody knows it. Everyone who's listening to this knows that. Fucking ridiculous. The next match is the Corporation represented by China and Kane taking on D-Generation X represented by Triple H and X-Pac, and China ends up pinning Triple H at the end of this after 14 minutes and 46 seconds.
Can I just say I'll give it a thumbs down right now because Shane wouldn't.
But let's give Val Venus and Shamrock a thumbs in the middle. Go on, Dave. Like, please finish your shit.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking a little bit. I'm just saying, like, he's like, get him. I'm like, dude, you're on the announcement.
Wait, who said that? Who said that?
You shut the fuck up.
Oh shit, because Shane.
Shane was
that's
every
right.
fucking
You're right. He
two-
was commenting. That's right.
I was like, God damn, bro. Like, fucking, can you take a rest? Like, that was the only thing about this match that I was really upset about. But, well,
So
maybe
you
two
said what
things.
you said about Mark Henry. Can I say something in the same vein?
Okay.
I've never really cared for Shane or thought anything special of Shane. Go on. At all. He falls off shit, and not in an artistic way like Foley does. He just falls off shit. That's all he does. And
Thanks for joining, everybody. Find us on.
And he's lucky he hasn't died. I'm just being honest. Like,
or falls through shit like glass with Kurt Angle. I mean, I'm just fuck.
yeah, because that was Shane.
He's not wrong.
Kurt Angle's the one who
Jess
made the
is not
ignorant
wrong.
decision to throw him over and over again through that. Yes, Shane was telling him like try again, which is fine. I don't doubt his guts or his balls, but like what else has he done? Like honestly, he comes out there and he like seizures while he dances, and then like he gets in
Coast to
His
coast,
work
bro.
is-
Did you say Caesar? Caesar's like when he dances?
Yeah, and then like because he does that little shuffle with his feet or whatever, it looks like he's just like he's having an episode of something. And his work's awful because he's not a pro wrestler. He never was, and like he just gets good athletes in there that work well with him, and they're like, yeah, you want to fall off that? Okay, like I mean, what really like. If you can't tell the difference between what he does and what Foley does, I'm sorry for you. Like because they're two totally different things. Like they're two totally different things. Shane does it the wrong way and Foley does it the right way. But that's fine. I know there's a lot of people that do like Shane. Absolutely. I'm not disputing that.
Well, and in this match, he really didn't do much of nothing but take
And annoy us on commentary.
You know, I mean, yeah. So that's where the thumbs down comes for me. But there's also one other part. I mean, China is the ninth wonder of the world, and I felt they went out of their way to protect her here. I'm like, she could have done a lot more with Waltman here because she was bigger than him. I know they did have spots where she did kind of overpower, but I felt they could have made it way more kind of spectacular. Like, was there a spot where she pressed him at all or slammed
Yeah, I
him
think
at all?
if there's any time that Waltman could have done what Waltman does, it was here. He's a bumper. He's a light guy. You know what I mean? Like he does.
Yeah. So why is he?
I think
his legs at
it'd be
her?
perfect
You know
for
what I
China
mean?
to kind of use him to bump quite a bit and put herself over.
And
yeah,
they just didn't
it.
do that. Correct. Yeah, that was the disappointment. I mean, China's getting in there already, and Kane is billed at 378 pounds. I'm just saying that's what I heard. You know,
I forgot to check on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you can check it for me. I felt like they were really overweighing people in this pay-per-view, but
Demons
I
are
could be
heavy, Dave.
wrong. I'm pretty fat. That's true. I mean, I'll get on the diet tomorrow. It's all temporary. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm looking at it like Kane had to protect China throughout the whole match. The whole point is to have the ninth wonder of the world go in there and knock our socks off and do things that we couldn't expect. And maybe they felt the world wasn't ready for it, but I was ready for it when I watched it right now. And I was like, I was really disappointed. So I will give the match a thumbs down.
Craig, what do you think about the corporation against DX?
I'll give this kind of thumbs in the middle because unfortunately this match was kind of the crowd kind of breather. It was the popcorn match after Venus and Shamrock. So, what
the fuck?
So they had a very tough job, and I will give it a thumbs in the middle. I'm kidding, of course, but
I honestly believe that China could have done some real work in there and got people going nuts, and they just didn't allow it.
China acts
I'm being halfway serious about that.
China acts like she dies after she pins Triple H. Like she has to be kind of cared. She goes completely like limp. It's a very strange kind of way of being exhausted after it.
Yeah, he did do his Triple H knee to her, and then when he set her up for the pedigree, he didn't hit it because Kane came in and chokeslammed him. So and then China was out still, and then the whole thing is she had a stinger, and it took her a while to recover, but she's fine.
No, a stinger.
I give it a thumbs down because I expected so much more. Like the storyline was China she turned on DX and whatever, and eventually she turns on Kane and goes back with DX. I think I don't remember when, but it happens soon. After this, but so I was really okay. The storyline's cool. Like I like the Kane, character. I like China. I like DX, and that's fine. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be good. Yeah, like to Dave's point earlier, I thought, Pac is. I don't remember this match because it's been so long since I've watched this pay-per-view. I was like, Pac's gonna bump all over the place, especially for China. It's gonna be cool. He didn't. And then it was just sort of blah. And then it ended with Kane coming in there and chokeslamming him and putting China on top. And I was like, oh. Okay, the one match I expect some Vince Russo chicanery, it doesn't happen. And I'm mad about it. I'm like, wait a minute. Where's the fucking fire and shit for Kane? And what the fuck is nothing? That's how it ended. I don't know. I was it was flat for me. And then the work leading up to it too, was just run of the mill, blah, like a Raw match. And I was like, okay, this didn't so it might in the long run deserve a thumbs in the middle because it was 4 stars basically. But I expected so much more out of it when we got to the last 3 matches of the card. I'm like, okay, this one's gonna be really good storyline wise, at least,
So real talk right now. Do you think at that point China could have pressed or even press slam Triple H?
Sure. I mean, if he jumped enough. And I don't mean that to be mean. I mean, that's just how they do it. I mean, so yeah, sure.
No. I know, I get it. I understand that. Like Andre had to jump for Hogan, right? I mean, that's truth. He's a big son of a bitch. So I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, so why not?
Or why not pick, X-Pac up and throw him into Triple H and have Triple H bump on that? There could have been cool spots where they could have really popped the crowd with China.
Yeah, just none of it happened. They couldn't get their egos out of the way, maybe? I'm not sure.
Well, Triple H was in the ring.
Right. Were they dating at the time? Because that's the only way that the ending of this would have happened.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. Whether Kane did the damage or not, it's the only way he would have let China cover her. So, and then Vince Russo, the only part of Vince Russo in this match was him telling China at the end, you got to act like you are dead. You are just dead. Let Kane pick you up. You are not alive, sweetheart. You are not alive.
I love it.
I want you to pretend that you are not alive. I want you to be dead. But you're not really dead, but you are dead. By the way, I think Triple H is seeing Stephanie. So you cannot move after this match. You cannot move. I think your boyfriend's cheating on you, but you really need to sell this injury, China. I really think you need to play it straight here. Yeah. So sorry.
Terrible.
So the next match is Mankind, the reigning World Wrestling Federation champion here against the Rocky Poo. It ended in a draw, and it was a last man standing match for the title at 22 minutes.
But what I will say is that for a draw ending, it's pretty phenomenal. I mean, Mankind, come on, stood up at the 2 and he grabs for chairs. They ran into each other, delivering double chair shots. Neither could stand up after the 10 count, ending that match in a draw. Mankind remains WWF champion. I'll give it a thumbs up. I think this had some entertainment to it. I think there's a lot of fun stuff here. There's ref bumps. I mean, Mankind brought Hebner back into the ring after the red bump and grabs his hand, trying to control the count. Only made it to 8. For The Rock stood up. He's trying to like control Hebner's hand, for the counts. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff here. I will give it a thumbs up, but I mean, you can't. The storyline of gosh, for months and months and months of Mankind and The Rock, it's phenomenal stuff, is it not? I mean, it's great. They did a fantastic job.
Craig, what did you give the match?
I give it thumbs up. It's cool to see Mankind with the belt. You look at him and you see him now, and in this he does a DDT on a table, and then a minute later he takes a back body drop or back suplex on the concrete. I was like, oh my gosh, it's fun stuff, but and a heck of a story. And these guys had multiple wars. It was fun.
I will have a hard time not giving any Mick Foley match a thumbs up.
I think can't. Even if the card was a little better up to this point, I still think I would give this match a thumbs up. I mean, you tend to shit on, rapid title changes, right? We always kind of frown on that. Like, establish a champion, damn it, and establish them and go with them. But like these guys work so well together, and you sympathize with Foley so much. And The Rock was such a piece of shit heel that like everything worked. And they did these, and you could like, they had you guessing so much. You didn't really know if the title was going to change hands. I mean, first of all, who would have saw Foley winning it to begin with? Nobody. But they did it. And then they had The Rock win it back at Royal Rumble, and you're like, okay, fine. Exactly. But then Foley wins it back on the halftime heat, and you're like, are they going to ride with Foley on this? Like, so really leading up to WrestleMania, you were truly guessing, like, who the fuck is going to be champion going into Mania, Rock or Mankind? So yeah, like, I was totally fine with this match ending in a draw. I thought it was a cool ending, and I thought that, like, they kept you wanting to see another match between these guys, yet another one. And you don't see that anymore today, It's like so formulaic, like today. It's like the first match, the second match, the third match is usually the blow off, you're done. Then they go into something else. Here it's like they had like 4 matches, like where you truly didn't know who was going to end up with the belt at the end. I mean, maybe looking back, you're going to be like, yeah, of course it was The Rock. But I mean, like, I totally give this match a thumbs up. The whole feud was so engaging. I wanted to see another match. Every time they ended one match, I was like, well, when are they going to fight again? This is awesome.
Rock with his feet, both have chairs. Oh, they both clocked each other with those chairs.
Oh, no. That's it. 2.
Referee at 3. Both Mankind and The Rock hit each other simultaneously with those steel chairs.
Right in the face. This looks like a big car wreck.
Will any one of these men get up? Mankind. Referee's at 8. There's 9. Will anybody get up? And there's 10. The referee calls for the bell. A 10 count. Rock and Mankind.
Ladies and gentlemen, both men failed to answer the 10 count. Therefore, the referee's official decision.
The fans do give it a little bullshit chant at the end, but whatever. Like, they didn't appreciate it at the time, or maybe it's just a testament to they wanted one of these guys to win. But it was well thumbs up.
I just think the Val Venus and Shamrock match finally caught up to them, and they were chanting bullshit about that fucking piece of shit match.
So true. That is exactly right. They're finally got a chance to breathe.
So,
it's just not going to compare.
What did we say?
Don't put Venus and Shamrock 3 matches down from here. You don't do it.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's going to fuck your main event up for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the telltale sign is if you're on a pay-per-view, someone should go over in a title match. A draw usually doesn't work, but they were working to something bigger, and I get it. And there was a lot of, overnight title changes. So, I mean, that was just the way of the world back then. They were trying to make it work. But if you put the match on its merit, thumbs up all the way. Good stuff.
So the last match is the main event. It's what we all came here to see. Stone Cold Steve Austin against Mr. McMahon. Physically the culmination of their feud inside of a steel cage to determine the number 1 contender to the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 19. So, and at this point, great booking. We just had a draw, right? So Foley's still the champion, but now you're just like, holy shit, is Austin going to take on, Foley here? So, well, Austin would defeat him. We knew that. What did you think about the match, Dave?
Thumbs up and hit us up on Instagram. I'm just kidding.
What did you think about the match?
David.
Nah, Gregors, you take it away, man. Tell us what you thought.
The time on this is 7:56, but I don't think that counts all the time they spent outside. I think they're just counting that.
Correct.
Because there was a lot of time before when they brawl outside, they go up. So I had forgotten. I remember seeing the timing of it, and then I watched the pay-per-view, and I was like, this is 9 minutes long. And of course, basically what happens is, and it's a great story, and that they don't even get in the ring, and all you want to see is one-on-one, these two in the ring inside the confines of that big steel cage, and they do not give it to you. He's running away from it. He's hesitant. Mr. McMahon's running away. Pronouns, pal.
Yeah, he never got into the ring at first.
Didn't get into the ring. Austin chases him outside. They go up and down kind of the arena stairs. They tease going up the cage, and then kind of before the match kind of even starts, McMahon takes a bump off the cage onto a table where I guess Bruce Pritchard said that kind of hurt him a little bit. He landed on it wrong, but had practiced it, where he kind of lands. It hesitates for a moment before the table collapses, and he hits kind of on the side where there's no give to it. But it honestly looked okay, and the paramedics and the neck brace and all that stuff was planned. He seemed fine after watching it today, but then listening to Pritchard kind of give his thoughts on the match, and he had said that when this bump happened, they thought McMahon was dead, although he did have bruising kind of on the back. So. And then it kind of almost starts from there, the brutality, and then goes from there. So it was exciting enough. It's not 5 quality work rate by any means, but it's enough.
You can't put Vince in a match like that. I mean, to say 5-star on work, but 5-star on drama and storyline, you can put it there. Yeah, absolutely. That's just Vince, right? I mean, you look at the beginning, I don't even, the menagerie of it, if you want to call it. I mean, where they're just kind of, they're showing that the clips of Vince with Austin, and every time Austin comes out, Vince's expressions are priceless. God, what a feud. Nobody, I don't, people say, oh yeah, Austin and Vince was great. I don't know if that even is enough to really express. Vince is ashamed of his character at times, that he played. And I don't think that Vince even gives himself enough credit to how good he was in this feud. Absolutely phenomenal. And this is what, you two would also call a payoff match. And it totally paid off. I mean, God, I can't even imagine what Vince is capable of at the time until you see this. You're like, wow, Vince really kind of, he kind of pays it in. He does his work. When it comes to the story, we all know that Vince is not a worker. That's not what he's done. He's never done that. But when it comes to this feud and the storyline, he put 110% into it. Period.
Yeah, I liked what they did before the quote unquote bell rung, because it makes sense. Because Vince is not a full-time wrestler. I don't know what I think about this match watching it again. Because when it happened, of course, Austin was hot, when we first watched it live, and Vince was like, I don't know. I don't like the payoff being here. I don't know why. I guess the end result always had to be Austin getting his hands on Vince, but I think we always knew from the start that Vince wasn't the wrestler that Austin was in storyline. He was the owner of the company. He was jacked, and he always made fun of his, he always showed his physique off and all that. But I don't think Vince ever did that to be like, could he really wrestle? Like, I don't think anybody ever really wanted that from Vince or that character. So to put him in there with Austin was
certainly,
to put him in there with Austin was weird to me in a February pay-per-view at an In Your House offering. Their first official match was a payoff here. And that was odd to me. I even thought that back at the time. This is odd to me, and I don't like it. But Vince always busts his ass. When is that character not turned, on a scale of 1 to 10 to 30? When Vince is the, sure. If he will never do anything that he doesn't, or he will never ask someone to do something that he wouldn't do himself. And, you've heard that about Vince a million times. So I don't dispute his effort or his him just saying, yeah, fuck, I'll fall off the cage onto the table. That's fine. Like, I don't dispute any of his balls or his guts or anything like that. But I liked Austin here, he's still breathing, so he could still continue. And that was funny and everything. But I just felt the whole time going like, God, like it, if it hadn't been, looking back in hindsight, if it hadn't been for The Rock being so hot and him going on to face Austin at Mania 19, they could have fucked up here by having these two finally touch each other. And of course, Austin was going to dominate.
And not waiting for Mania.
Yeah, yes. In short, yes.
So yeah, to your point, I think you really are onto something big there. The only problem with that equation is that I don't think Vince ever believed it was Mania worthy, and that's the only reason why
it's the biggest feud you've ever done. Basically, I don't know why. I don't know.
I'm with you on it, but this is a problem. There's Vince the Booker. And
not
Vince
even have it at Mania.
Vince the Booker.
Not even have it.
He didn't believe in the character.
Not even have it at
much.
Mania. Just I don't even know if you ever try to have a physical payoff with the two. But now thinking about it, yes, wrestling is built off something starting a feud, and there's got to be a payoff somewhere. I get that, but like I think by them doing it, I don't know. Vince, of course, would be a thorn in his side all the way through 2001. When they actually sided together. But like it just kind of, I think the whole thing was like, we'll yada yada past it because the end with the debut of the Big Show or the Giant from WCW. I also was like, well, wait a minute. Why would you make this match a number one contendership match? Yes, Vince won the Royal Rumble, which the winner does get the shot at the title. I get it. And so they had to somehow get that off Vince, right? But I don't know why they had to do it here. I don't know why Vince couldn't have won this match. Because at the end, when Paul Wright throws him through the cage, and the cage is obviously gimmicked, which makes me annoyed as well. And then basically at the end of the match, it's, Paul Wright comes up through the ring and everyone's like, oh my God, that's Paul Wright. He was from another company and, look at the size of him or whatever. So he gets Austin. He's so strong. He throws Austin into the cage, but he didn't know his own strength and he ended up throwing Austin through the cage, which put Austin on the floor, which makes Austin win the match. Okay, fine. Instead of that, why couldn't Paul Wright have done that for Vince? He came up in the middle of the ring because they made sure nobody could get in. So that's the whole point in Paul Wright. Heaven forbid he comes down to the ring like Kane did to rip the door off. So obviously you knew that the ending, the way it was done, the reason why he came through the middle of the ring and didn't find a way from the outside in is because it wouldn't make sense for this ending. That's why they did it. So he comes up from the middle of the ring like The Undertaker for no reason. And he throws Austin through the cage. I get it. Okay. I get that's how they ended it. But to me, they didn't have to make it a number one contenders match, or they could have. They could have still made a number one contenders match because every week on Raw, they change stipulations and drug things out or whatever. Look at how many matches we just talked about The Rock and Mankind having. So why couldn't Vince have won this match? Paul Wright grabbing him and knowing that he's that strong because there's no other way out of the cage, right? Because obviously Paul Wright had to come up through the middle. That was the only way he was going to get in because they locked the cage down. So he throws Vince through the cage. Vince hits the floor. Total bullshit cheating. Austin gets cheated. You can't take that momentum and ride that in to another rematch and then Austin gets his number one contendership back? You know what I mean?
Hey, hindsight is 20/20, man.
It is, but it bothered me when I watched it. It was way more glaring. I'm like, why couldn't they have thrown Vince through the cage? Why couldn't have Big Show done that, knowing that he's that strong? Just being like, I'm going to throw him through the cage and he's going to win. And Austin going, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know a big monster was going to come up in the middle of the ring and throw him through the cage. I got cheated. Yes, you did. And then there you go. You keep going. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. So you have Vince and Austin. Maybe I'm rambling, but
there's two things to your theory there. I think that they didn't believe. One, Stone Cold's the asshole. So Stone Cold doesn't get cheated. Stone Cold cheats everybody else out and people cheer for it. Two, Vince did not believe in his character enough to carry it that far, which, to your point, is probably a mistake. But, this is where we are. This is how the match ended. And let's put it this way. You take the Paul White equation out of it. At that point, thumbs up, down, middle, where are you at?
I think I always say thumbs in the middle in the sense because I'm the one that has so many problems with it apparently. But Vince busted his ass. What do you, again, he sets an example for every wrestler. Austin was funny in Austin. And, so it made total, their characters didn't betray themselves. I didn't think that. I just thought like, man, you're debuting this guy and this guy should cheat for Vince to win. And that keeps it alive because Austin had that son of a bitch and bleeding and fucking fell off a cage. Austin had him, damn it. And then this fucking he comes from the middle of the ring. What the fuck? Like, and throws Vince through the cage. That's how strong he is.
Well, even at that point, he could have come to the middle of the ring, busted the cage open. And
there you go. There you go. Yeah. Even better. Like him kick the cage and he fucking so strong he kicks the panel off. Fine.
Yeah, and he walks Vince out of the ring and says,
I remember watching this going, God, like, they didn't end the feud between Austin and Vince either. I'm thinking when you go out of your way to put them physically against each other, I think is my point. And this is what you do. And then you still bleed the feud on for another year and a half. I'm like, what? Why did you make Vince that vulnerable? Like, why did you do that to him? Like, if the end, I mean, he beat the shit out of Vince. Like, of course, the chicken shit heel covered in blood should find some way to win. Of course, it's Brett beating Jerry Lawler at SummerSlam 93, making him tap out to the sharpshooter, but not releasing it. And then he gets DQ'd after holding it on Lawler for like 5 minutes. And Lawler being carried out on the stretcher, just very weak, raises his hand in victory, and it pisses everybody off. Like, that's what this should have been. It should have been Vince getting the shit beat out of himself, covered in blood, and just like some way this fucking massive giant comes out and gets him out of the cage, and then Vince is the one that holds up the bloody middle finger to Austin to end the pay-per-view. How the fuck? That's perfect. And then on the next night, they're going to do something on Raw where Austin will get another shot and he gets his number one contendership back and he goes on to face The Rock. Fine. I just thought, like, why would you make Austin win here? Like when Big Show did that kind of debut, like when it was supposed to be this, I don't know. Again, I'm rambling. I might be overthinking it.
It just sounds like you're never satisfied with what you get.
It's true.
Jess. Grass is always greener, bro.
True.
I think waiting that long for these guys to finally get their hands on each other, and then that being the ending, and then that kind of involving kind of Paul White too, it can be kind of unsatisfying. Is a very good point, and I guess that's a very good point. Like, why didn't they save this for Mania? And I think it goes.
Why does Paul White have to debut here? I think is the argument that several people make.
Well,
This would have been fine on its own.
My only critique of the match, it could have played out the exact same way that it did. Don't change a thing except Vince gets out of the cage because of Paul White. Why not? Like, and now people are like, oh fuck, Austin's gonna be so mad tomorrow night on Raw. Oh man, like now Austin wins and bloodies Vince, and the only reason why Vince stays standing is, well, I own the company. Oh, okay, we knew that from the beginning. So like, what? Just there has to be a way that the villain was dastardly to kind of get that victory over on Austin. Like, I don't know, like he won the Royal Rumble. That would irritate people even more. He won the Rumble and he beat Austin in a cage match. So he must be stopped. Like, and then Austin will find a way to get to him. But like, yeah, I think that was the whole allure of those two guys was, and don't get me wrong, we're lucky that The Rock was so on fire here as a heel that like Vince kind of passed that torch on to him. Yes, Vince was still involved in storylines, like I said, for a year and a half playing out, but like The Rock just, was this marvel that came along and was equally as hot as Austin at times. And their chemistry was amazing, and that carried it further, So maybe that was the point. To Dave's point, maybe Vince is like, well, I got to get myself out of here somehow. My character, like I'm going to still be on TV, but I got to get out of the number one target position for Austin. We got to put The Rock there because he's my guy. He's like the next big heel star, and I got to get him, he's got to be the focus of Austin's, anger at this point. Maybe Dave made a good point that that's what the whole thing was going to be, because Vince didn't want Mr. McMahon to keep being,
That's the only reason. Vince didn't have enough faith in his own character to push it forward, because everyone else in the business was telling him, this is fucking fire. According to all the podcasts that we've all listened to the same ones. They told him, Vince, like, you are on fire right now. And he didn't believe it. I don't think he believed, as much as he pushes his vision and the vision of his business to himself, he never believed that in himself as a character of the company. That's bona fide fact. I mean, he's very much embarrassed of that stuff. But the funny thing was, it was some of the best wrestling you'd ever seen in the realm of storyline. And to your point, it didn't have to have a bunch of fancy moves and, as Cuz would say, who's not here, dicky flips and all that kind of stuff. And, it was just great story. And I think he always sold himself short on that. He never wanted to do it. He didn't want to be a part of it, but it was it was fantastic. And to your point, if they did push it further, they would have had people coming unglued by WrestleMania.
And don't get me wrong, like, I mean, you know, like it had everything, right? Blood, guts, you know, cage match.
Oh,
so I'm not shitting on their work, but they
way,
both like their chemistry was on point as always, you know, of course.
He's going to WrestleMania. Wait a minute. My God, King. My God. King. That's Paul White. Yes. That's Paul White. King. He's huge. Look at that. He's helped Mr. McMahon to his feet. Paul White is here.
This guy's got to be over 7 feet tall.
He's colossal. Look. You knew the boss had to have something up his sleeve.
I knew it. You didn't know it.
Stone Cold waited too long.
You didn't believe in the boss. He hates Austin so bad.
Look at this. McMahon wants Austin to suffer what he suffered in this match.
Austin is going to learn you don't cross the boss.
Look at
and
the
get away
swing.
with it.
Austin manhandled. Austin into the cage. Austin, the cage gave way. Austin's down. Austin's out of the cage.
So I'm not disputing that.
And I'm going to straight up give it a thumbs up. So
I probably should give it a thumbs up, but I'll stick with my thumbs in the middle. Craig?
Yeah, I mean, it's a thumbs up. It's Vince's kind of bump on the table and the blood and then the middle finger at the end. It was just, I remember being excited. I remember seeing finally one-on-one get their hands on each other, and it was good.
Well, I hope our fan enjoyed this, Dave. You know, we covered the St. Valentine's Day Massacre from February of '99, just for him.
I think I think there's a lot more people than just one viewer that likes this time frame, this particular pay-per-view. I think it delivers things that are different than the standard pay-per-view would normally deliver, right? And it is in the prime time of Austin and McMahon. It carries the Triple H China saga into another level. There's a lot of gems in here. D'Lo's another gem. We get to see another just snippet of Owen, which we all miss. You know, Hall of Fame Owen Hart. It's going to be my hashtag going into the next 5 years, and it still won't happen probably. But all in all, I enjoyed watching this pay-per-view over. I think it's just it does give you a little bit of a glimpse into that time frame for sure, where we're like, wow. Faces and heels definitely didn't matter. The crowd got to choose more than ever here. I think they really pandered to the crowd more than they ever did. And that's a good thing. And I wish they would kind of go back to that. And I think right now we're trying to be controlled more than ever with these storylines. And I don't think that was the case here. I think they were so getting over and also still so desperate that this was the time frame where like the fans are getting what they want.
And maybe it is easy for me to critique looking back, but yeah, when we were in the middle of this shit, like wrestling was so hot in general, and especially Austin and Vince, their feud, and it was like just everything they did was fire. Everything they did, like it's like every month, I'm like, how are they gonna? Oh, they're gonna top it like that. Okay. Oh, how are they gonna top the next? Oh, okay, they're gonna top it like that. Okay. Like it's just the characters were so on fire. We can go back and look at individual matches and be like, God, it wasn't very good. But then like when the key storylines, which I would say the biggest thing about the Attitude Era was it was storyline driven. That whole era that's what wrestling was about. Soap operas and storylines and just character development and all that, you know, whereas like, you know, the eras before it might've been a little bit more about in-ring work. Yeah. Characters have always been over the top, but you know, this era, especially the Attitude Era, was all about what the character, how loud were the characters' voices? How much could they make you relate to them? Oh, I really relate to that character. I really do that. I want to tell my boss to fuck off. I can't wait, you know, like, and it just, yeah, you can't, unless you live through the Attitude Era, it's hard to really replicate it or tell people about it because it was a time we may never experience again. That's for sure.
I mean, if you think about it, 19,000 people saw Vince McMahon take that bump off the table. Paramedics come out. Neck brace on, and then Austin kind of said, the bell hasn't started yet, we're not done with this son of a bitch yet, and they cheered it. There was literally no compassion whatsoever for a dude that had just taken like a Foley bump. And we loved, they wanted blood. They wanted him to die.
Yeah.
And no compassion whatsoever. It was amazing. That's how hot it was.
I love it. Absolutely, man. That's the kind of stuff that you can't get back. That's the kind of heel character that will never be surpassed. It'll never be compared to it. No one will come close to that. Like you said, it's always the boss that you want to punch in the face.
Yeah.
You know, when everyone's had a bad boss, right? And Vince was the epitome of that. And Stone Cold lived out millions of people's dreams on a weekly basis. So, hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. This is Dave along with Jess and Craig in the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one. Stop.